$30 billion. That is what Americans spent on vitamins and dietary supplements last year. And according to a 2011 review by the U.S. Government Accountability Office, 73% of supplement manufacturers inspected by the FDA failed to comply with at least one federal regulation. That means nearly 3 out of 4 manufacturers were cutting corners, and the product you trusted was sitting on the shelf anyway. This is not a fringe problem. It is the center of the industry. And once you understand how the system was built, you will never pick up a bottle at Walmart the same way again. Walk into any Walmart, Walgreens, or Target, and you will find an entire wall dedicated to supplements, multivitamins, fish oil, magnesium, vitamin D. The labels promise sleep, energy, immune support, bone strength. The prices feel reasonable. The branding looks clean and medical, and most of it will do almost nothing. Not because the idea of supplementation is wrong, but because the form of the ingredient inside most mass-market products is chosen for one reason alone. It is the cheapest ingredient that can legally appear on the label. Let's start with magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic processes in the human body. Real deficiency is widespread, and the supplement industry sells it by the hundreds of millions of bottles every year. But the version in most budget products is magnesium oxide. It is the cheapest form to manufacture. It is also among the least bioavailable forms that exist. Research published in peer-reviewed journals shows that magnesium oxide absorbs at less than 4% in many individuals. Magnesium glycinate and magnesium bisglycinate, by contrast, absorb at rates dramatically higher, because the mineral is bound to an amino acid that your intestinal wall can actually transport. The difference is not minor. It is the difference between a pill that works and a pill that you excrete. Manufacturers know this. Formulators know this. The science has been available since at least the 1990s. A study published in the Journal of Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition found that patients with absorption impairments showed dramatically better uptake from chelated magnesium compared to magnesium oxide. This was 1994. And yet, walk into any Walmart today, and the magnesium oxide bottle is front and center, priced attractively, stacked to the ceiling. The label says 500 milligrams of magnesium. What it does not say is that your body may absorb less than 20 milligrams of it. The milligrams on the label are not the milligrams that reach your bloodstream. Now take vitamin B12, one of the most commonly purchased supplements in the country. Most mass-market products use cyanocobalamin, a synthetic form of B12 that is cheap to produce and stable in powder form. The more bioavailable form, methylcobalamin, requires a more complex manufacturing process and costs more per unit. Studies show that methylcobalamin is retained at higher levels in tissue and does not require the same metabolic conversion steps. For people with common genetic variants affecting the MTHFR pathway, cyanocobalamin may convert poorly at all. Nobody putting cyanocobalamin in their product is lying to you. It is technically B12, but it is the form chosen because it saves a fraction of a cent per capsule, multiplied across hundreds of millions of bottles, and the consumer has no way to see the difference on a shelf. This is not one company doing this. This is a structural problem across the entire mass-market supplement industry. Consumer Lab, an independent testing organization, conducted analysis of multivitamin products and found quality control problems in 46% of products tested, including levels of vitamin A, vitamin D, folate, and calcium that range from 24% to 157% of the stated label value. 57% too much, or 3/4 too little. On the same product, from the same shelf. You have no way of knowing which one you picked up, and the contamination data is worse. A 2010 Government Accountability Office analysis of 40 dietary supplements found trace amounts of at least one heavy metal: lead, arsenic, mercury, cadmium, or pesticides in 93% of the products tested. 93%. And a separate study found that 59% of tested botanical supplements contained plant species not listed on the label, with active ingredient substitution observed in 83% of companies tested. You were not getting what the label said. You were getting something else entirely. Now, follow the money. In 2010, the Carlyle Group, one of the largest private equity firms on the planet, acquired NBTY Incorporated, the parent company of Nature's Bounty, for $3.8 billion. Carlyle then sold a majority stake to KKR in 2017, and in 2021, Nestlé purchased the core brands, Nature's Bounty, Solgar, Puritan's Pride, Sundown, Osteo Biflex, for $5.75 billion. 3 ownership transfers in 11 years, 3 different financial entities extracting value from the same brands. Nature's Bounty alone generated $1.87 billion in net sales in the 12 months before the Nestlé deal closed. These are not wellness companies. These are financial instruments wearing lab coats. When private equity acquires a supplement brand, they are not acquiring a commitment to bioavailability research. They are acquiring a margin structure, a distribution network, and a consumer trust built over decades that they did not earn. The job after acquisition is to protect the margin. And the fastest way to protect the margin in a supplement business is to reduce input costs, which means cheaper ingredient forms, lower quality sourcing, and a regulatory environment that does not require you to prove that your product actually works before you sell it. That regulatory gap is not an accident. The Dietary Supplement, Health and Education Act, passed by Congress in 1994, explicitly does not require supplement manufacturers to prove efficacy before putting a product on the market. The FDA cannot require safety testing before a supplement ships. The industry, according to the American Medical Association Journal of Ethics, grew from a $4 billion market with roughly 4,000 products in 1994 to more than $40 billion with up to 80,000 products today. The regulatory framework has not kept pace. The FDA's Office of Dietary Supplement Programs operates on a budget of approximately $10.8 million to oversee a $40 billion industry. That is not oversight, that is theater. When there is no pre-market proof requirement and a $10 million watchdog guarding a $40 billion market, quality becomes optional. And in a private equity portfolio, optional quality is eliminated quality. Here is what to actually do. Stop buying supplements based on price and brand recognition. Both of those signals have been thoroughly corrupted. Instead, look for third-party certification. The United States Pharmacopeia, known as USP, verifies that supplements contain what the label states, in the amount stated, without harmful contaminants. NSF International provides similar independent verification. Products carrying a USP verified, or NSF, certified for Sports Seal, have been tested by a lab with no financial relationship to the manufacturer. For magnesium, look specifically for magnesium glycinate, bisglycinate, or malate, not oxide. For B12, look for methylcobalamin on the ingredient list, not cyanocobalamin. For any botanical supplement, look for standardized extract with a stated percentage of active compound. For example, turmeric standardized to 95% curcuminoids. Not just the raw herb in powder form, which may contain almost no active ingredient at all. Smaller brands like Thorne Research, Pure Encapsulations, and Jarrow Formulas have historically used higher bioavailability ingredient forms, though Jarrow was among the brands acquired by private equity in recent years. So, verification remains important. Thorne has maintained third-party testing programs and a clinical research orientation that distinguishes it from the mass market stack. When you see a price that seems impossibly good on a supplement that promises to transform your health, understand what that price is telling you. It is telling you the form is cheap, the sourcing is cheap, and the company that owns that brand spent $4 billion on the acquisition and needs to protect the margin. The label is doing its job. The pill may not be. If you want to go deeper on what private equity is doing to the entire health and wellness supply chain, there is a video coming on exactly that. Subscribe so you do not miss it when it drops. Because the supplement story is just the beginning. The same playbook is being run across every category you trust. You were spending real money on things that were not doing their job. Now you know exactly what to look for. Buy accordingly.